Hello again, Steve here with a few comments about money and the motivation that money infuses into people, I would say. And there's old sayings that we hear, money's the root of all evil, these sorts of things. I would say that probably the reason is because with money, the experience of life is that of much more power, right? And we all want to be probably more powerful, right? We want to have better health and more energy, more opportunity. And with money, this certainly is the feeling. When we have more money, we feel more empowered on that side. When we have less, we have lack, right? Therefore, the tendency to the root of all evil, then, okay, the root of evil is, I'm not saying that this is true, but this could be the basis of this saying. The evil is, of course, when we think about it, that which harms others in some way, or it's harmful, not necessarily to others, but to others' property, to relationships, to their persons, their properties, and just the aggression towards others. I guess you could say that could be and towards ourselves could be said as evil. And it's an interesting thing, I watched this documentary not too long ago. Somebody sent me. It was called Bankers' Wars, and it was a chronicle of major wars going back over the last more than 100 years. And as it turns out, the financial incentive behind these wars, according to documentation and research that this outfit had done, seems to point to these wars being, taking care of business, to put it mildly, in a very big way, over oil and resources and land and, basically money, some sort of a, this is mine mentality. And I find this comes up as also in terms of nutritional advice, health advice, philosophy versus religion, government versus voluntary interaction. It's wherever I'm not going to go so far as to say money is the root, but what I would say, though, is that where there is evil, look for the money trail, because that's what's going on. I mean, you look at an example, just the example of government versus the many voluntary interactions we have with friends and so on. It is, pay us or else. That's the way, that's the basis of the relationship. Pay us or do as we say or else, right? And at the end, it's about money. It's about getting a portion of our efforts, right? The net, I should say, the net in the big picture. I also see this in nutritional advice. Years ago, I was a fitness instructor, and I had done quite a bit of research on fitness, and actually wrote a book called Optimum Health. Researched a lot of different studies that were done in the 50s and this sort of thing, and got the sense that what the human body needs is a certain level of macronutrients, micronutrients, and then it's healthy, right? But what I found then, and even researching into trends that had happened before in the 50s and what have you, there's this opposite approach, which is basically all wrong according to nutritional science. And what it basically does, because the the truth about nutrition and health is actually that it takes a long time to lose weight properly. It takes a long time to get in shape. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of self-discipline and so on. So if you want to make money, that's not a good thing to tell people. What you have to tell people is that it's easy, that you can actually stay in the bad habits that you have, and you're going to lose weight and you're going to be healthier. And it's lies, right? It's otherwise known as lies. But nevertheless, there's a new flavor of it every year or so. There's a new, whether it's Atkins Reborn or Wheat Belly and all these different incarnations of this idea that you shouldn't eat what your body is meant to be run on, which is carbohydrate, or shouldn't eat too much of it. And what I find is that those who do preach that and do it very well get very rich very fast, because you're identifying people's pains. You're putting forth a solution where they can see some fast results, and it damages their health, but that doesn't really matter, because then you already have their money. And of course they're going to yo-yo, and they're going to come back again for another hit. So this is where evil comes in, and it's supported, encouraged by the money that can be garnered from that. War is another good example. I mean, it's very profitable for some. It's very profitable for those who are behind the scenes. And, but it's damaging to everybody else. They sell it as something patriotic and necessity, and there's this evil bugaboo out there called a terrorist that we got to go after, and this sort of thing. Religion is another one. Religion is, and all of these things, all of these evils are fundamentally based on lies, but sold as the truth. So and that's why philosophy has always been put down by the mainstream as, that's too difficult, it's a bunch of nerdy people and this sort of thing. And many of them who are people who have gone down that road have been persecuted or killed. I mean, I think of Socrates, for example, who wouldn't obey the gods of the city, and the crowds put him to death. Others like him, probably. I don't know of any off the top of my head. I'm not very well versed in this sort of thing. But I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, because money is a challenge. I mean, money is a great tool. It's been around forever, since we've existed, probably, or very early on since we existed. And it's a great medium of exchange for exchanging goods in voluntary societies, on a voluntary basis, rather. The thing is, though, is that there's this, there's the nature of dimensions in the world, right? There's an opposite to everything. So there's an opposite to beneficial or good or wholesome and so on, which is, evil, destructive, and whatnot. So, and of course, people pay attention to that more often because we're conditioned for fear, right? I mean, that has been our evolution, you might say, is that if we were in the jungle or we were in the wilds for the longest time, great stuff is not going to kill us. Finding a nice orchard where everything is splendor and there's lots of clean water and everybody's getting along great, we're having a great time, that's not going to kill us. What's going to kill us is the lion or the tribe who's hostile to us or what have you. So therefore, fear is a much higher. People remember, and that's why news is always fear-mongering, because it's what sells, right? So when you want to sell something, if you want to find the fear point, probably, I'm guessing. And you see that with government. There's always something that's got to be concocted, whether it's terrorism or drugs or, some unholy religion who's the, we got to go fight, send holy wars after or whatever. And and of course that's religion also. Religion, they make up stories like there's this terrible afterlife, and if you're not righteous, you could end up in that one. Whereas if you pay us enough and tithe and so on to this guy who wears a robe, then you can earn enough righteousness that you could go on to the good side. There's the whole diet thing, which is that whatever you're doing is wrong. Whatever these guys are telling you is wrong. Don't bother reading anything and just eat. If you're fat, eat fat. And basically the encouraging point is not really to question it. Don't bother doing your research because we've done it for you. And behind it all is money, though. I mean, this is all business, right? And not that there's anything wrong with it, making money. Although money has the tendency to encourage people to be evil, because there's lots of profit in evil. There's lots of profit in encouraging people that they have a problem and that you've got the solution. And it doesn't matter then if the solution is actually harmful. If the motivation is strong enough for the money, that is. Like in the diet industry, sure, people lose weight, but what it does is it messes up their metabolism very often, and they can't sustain that kind of a diet, so they yo-yo, go back on the regular eating, and they blow up even bigger than before, because it was just false information. But by then, like you say, they've already bought the books and the programs and the tutoring or the coaching or whatever, so it doesn't matter so much anymore because the money is already made and on to another sucker. Oh, I don't know, along the lines of improving the quality of our lives, I guess the more we can question, the more we can ask questions to ourselves, to others. First of all, to ourselves, the more clarity we can get, and to others who want to sell us on something, the quicker they're going to run when they realize that we may be able to expose them or to expose their hoax. Or else we'll just run into non-answers. And if we're not getting any answers that are not strong, that are not based on research that they have done, or other cross-references that we can get, or even common sense, then we can just dismiss it and we can move on to something else. And this, I believe, will help us in time get on, narrow our path down and focus our path onto what's going to really help us in improving the quality of our life experience. Maybe not momentarily, almost certainly not momentarily, because a lot of times a quick fix sure feels good in the moment. But the problem is that it's not sustainable. And we, in the end, if we're really people who want to live a life of purpose, and if we're those kind of people who want to live a life of purpose, then it's important for us to continue to narrow and focus. It's an ongoing process of learning and learning and learning and focusing and filtering out all the dead wood and the fallacies, and getting greater and greater and greater clarity on what it is we want, where it is we want to go, what do we stand for in life. And these sorts of things, the closer we get, or the more refined we get, there's sort of a glow, an inner glow within us, I think, and that really starts to take shape. And yes, many people are going to think we're crazy. Many people are going to think that we're skeptical or questioning or a nuisance and all that sort of thing. But so what? So what? Once again, somebody once said to me recently, what other people think of me is none of my business. It's their business, right? They have the freedom to think whatever they want. So, just some thoughts on the challenges that money can bring, the temptation sometimes that to take money when The reason we're taking it is for the money, not because it's necessarily the right thing to do. Hope this was helpful. Once again, a little bit of a ramble. It's great chatting again. Do this again soon. My name is Steve. Bye-bye for now.